Alright, I'm gonna go on the record by saying this. 2026 is looking like it's about to be another fantastic year of boxing, as we just received already arguably one of the best cards of the year. Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez, also known as the Ring 6. What a fantastic card from top to bottom. We got viral moments, we got, knockouts, we got beatdowns, we got everything on this card. I know I'm late, but we still gonna hop into it because there's a lot to unpack and there's a lot to talk about. So without further ado, let's hop into it. Now, starting off with the infamous Big Baby Miller fight. Now, I'm not gonna lie to nobody here. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I didn't care too much about this fight. I didn't even watch the fight. I was busy doing other things. I didn't really watch the fight. I didn't really care. But I'll go on Twitter, right? Because everything is on Twitter these days. I go on Twitter, and the first thing I see, the first thing that popped up on my timeline as soon as I log on to Twitter was just somebody, I just seen a patch of just hair just flopping back. That's the first thing I seen. I was like, who was this? Who is this? I read the caption. It's Jarrell Miller. I'm like, bruh, you know you bogus for that, right? You know, and that's not even, bro, now that it has been weeks past, that's not even the crazy. You want to know the worst part? This dude is on record saying he paid $700 for that. Jarrell Miller. You know you bogus for that, bro. You paid $700 for that? Just for somebody to not listen. If your phone was buzzing before the fight, I know it's dry after the fight, dog. We gonna keep it 100. Who was you hair fishing in the big 2026? You hair fishing? Come on, Big Baby Miller. How you gonna let my man turn you into a convertible, G? Come on now. That's how we starting off 2026. I expected better from you. At this point, you might as well go bald. Listen, embrace it, bro. It's over. Embrace it. Just go full on bald. You might as well anyway, bro. The secret is out. You might as well just full on, just cut it all off, G. Just cut it off. Rock the baldy. Don't listen. If you do anything, just don't do what Jaylen Brown is doing, bro. Where he got the whole Beijing on his head. It like he don't even have hair. He's just straight black. Don't do that, please. Do anything but that. I would even accept if you get another hair transplant. Just do everything but that, please. Which brings me to a more serious note. Shakur Carrington versus Carlos Castro. And again, I gotta be transparent. I gotta keep it 100 beanbags with everybody. I ain't ashamed to say it. I thought Carlos Castro was going to beat Shakur Carrington. I did. And I'm going to explain why. But before I explain that, I'm going to say this. I will never bet against Shakur Carrington again. You made me a believer. Congratulations to Shakur Carrington. That is how you set the stage. That is how you make sure people recognize your name and people respect your name. You turn me into a believer 100%. Which is going to go into why I thought you was going to lose to Carlos Castro. I'm going to be honest. I have not been impressed with these past two fights from Shakur Carrington. I think who was it? It was Segawa? It's something like that. So a lot of people thought you lost that fight. And then the fight after that against, I'm going to say he's African. I don't know exactly what he is, but I'm assuming he's African. You fought somebody else and you just looked unimpressive, if I'm being honest. Shakur just looked unimpressive. And I wouldn't say I had a lot of stock behind Carlos Castro, but I had a respectable amount of stock behind Carlos Castro because his only losses has been to top level guys. Neri, unless you're not really counting him as a top level guy, okay, cool, right? I'm not gonna argue that, right? But he lost to Figgy, right? Figgy was top level, and then of course his last fight, it was against Stephen Fulton, which people thought he probably won that fight. So I seen him. I see him operate, and I knew Carlos Castro was gonna bring it, in which he did. He hurt Shakur Carrington in that fight. So I'm like, okay, I knew Carlos Castro was gonna bring the heat to Shakur Carrington. I was just unsure about how will Shakur Carrington look in that fight, because his past 2 outings, he wasn't looking the most impressive. And my thought behind that was, if he doesn't bring it, if Shakur Carrington doesn't bring it, he's going to lose. I'm not saying he was going to get knocked out, but I thought he was going to lose against Carlos Castro, and he changed my mind immediately. Not only did he beat Carlos Castro, he has done something that all of those names that I just named that Carlos Castro has lost to, he's done something that none of those people can say that they have done. He's the only person to have stopped Carlos Castro. He's the only one. Fulton didn't do it. Figgy didn't do it. Neri didn't do it. None of them did it, but Shakur Carrington did it. So with that being said, congrats to Shakur Carrington. I believe he's now the WBC champion now. I think he's the WBC, right? That's how you set the stage. That's how you turn non-believers into a believer. And Shakur Carrington, New York City, I am officially, I've always been a believer. I thought Shakur had skills, right? I just thought that I just needed to see another gear from Shakur Carrington. And in that fight, he turned it up and he showed that there is another level to Shakur Carrington. And with that being said, I am a firm believer in Shakur Carrington. Which brings me to Keyshawn Davis versus Jermaine Ortiz. Before the fight, my pre-fight analysis was a weird one. I went with Jermaine Ortiz. I did. It wasn't the fact that I didn't think Keyshawn couldn't beat Jermaine Ortiz. That's not why my prediction was my prediction. I think Keyshawn Davis is the better boxer. Obviously now, because he did end up stopping him. I thought he was the better fighter. But it just seemed like Keyshawn had a lot going on, and I didn't know what to expect from Keyshawn Davis, right? He done got rid of his whole corner or his whole entire training camp. Obviously, he's been out of the ring for a while. I didn't know what to expect from Keyshawn Davis, and that's really my only reason why I picked against him, because I didn't know what to expect from him, right? I take that back. I also picked against him because I knew the kind of style that Ortiz had, right? Like him having the ability to move, right? He's not really a brawler. I'm not gonna say he's a brawler, especially not against no Keyshawn Davis. If you start exchanging, obviously now, since the fight is over, but exchanging with Keyshawn Davis, it's not the smartest thing to do, especially for Jermaine Ortiz, who didn't have the power advantage in that fight. His best chances in that fight was the stick and move. I was very curious though of how Keyshawn Davis would handle that, right? Because we don't really see a lot of guys stick and move with Keyshawn Davis, right? And I was very curious to see how Keyshawn would handle that, because I remember I was talking to a friend who also makes boxing content. I remember talking to him about the Keyshawn Davis Frank Martin fight, and one of the things that he was saying about Keyshawn Davis is that Keyshawn Davis, he's not. I don't think he said he's not good at fighting on the move, but it's not something that he do. Keyshawn isn't a mover. Like he doesn't punch on the move. He's more of a flat-footed kind of puncher. He has somewhat good footwork, right? But he's more flat-footed. Like if you look at Frank Martin, he's able to punch on the move, right? I kind of seen the same thing with Jermaine Ortiz, him having the ability to punch on the move. So I was very curious on how Keyshawn would handle that. I think at first it was starting to get to Keyshawn. Like it was starting to bother him a little bit, but I think eventually Keyshawn was starting to catch on to what Ortiz was doing, which led to him to eventually get stopped. But the thing about the fight too was it felt like Ortiz was just moving. He was doing more moving than he was punching. Maybe I have to go back and watch it, but it just seemed like he would. I don't want to say he wasn't there trying to fight Keyshawn, but it definitely felt like okay. Example, when he started to exchange with Keyshawn, I think that was when his legs slowed down. I think the pace in which Ortiz was fighting, I don't think he could have fought that pace for 12 rounds. Like you're just trying to stick and move for 12 rounds straight. I think at some point he had to get Keyshawn's respect, but at that point he had no legs, and Keyshawn was starting to work the body, in which it eventually led to Keyshawn stopping him with the body shot. So, you know, it was an interesting fight. It wasn't the most entertaining fight, if I'm being honest. It was a weird fight. I would say that it was a weird fight. Before I get to Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez, I'm not sure about Keyshawn Davis and Haney. I'm not sure how that fight will look. Right? Especially with Keyshawn going up in weight and trying to fight Devin Haney. I don't know if Devin is bigger than Keyshawn. I don't know. Devin is a lot bigger than what people think he is. Like, he's a big dude. I'm not sure. I think Keyshawn might, but see, I don't know. I was gonna say I think Keyshawn has the power to hurt Devin, but Devin has sneaky power too. Per him fighting Brian Norman Jr., he dropped the supposed puncher. I don't know. I think Devin has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Like, he has a lot of tricks in his bag. And so does Keyshawn. I don't know who would win that fight. I wouldn't necessarily call it a 50-50. I'm just unsure how that fight will look. If that makes sense. All right, with that out the way, let's break down. I mean, it's not really much to really break down. But Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. Man. Where do I start with this? Well, number one, before I even break down the fight, let me just say this. Teofimo, and I shouldn't even like you. I shouldn't even give you this advice for all the racist stuff that you were saying. But I will say this. Get away from your pops, bro. Get away from your pops, dog. It's time. And I know people gonna say, you know, y'all always talk about how a fighter should leave their trainer whenever they lose. But this is a different story. Get away from your pops, dog. One of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to the sport of boxing, is when trainers don't give instructions. What do you mean? You gotta hit him, bro.
Start shifting him. You gotta hit him, bro.
What do you think he was trying to do? Like, you think, first of all, you think it's that easy to hit Shakur? It's just that easy. It's just that, like, bro, Shakur, statistically, by the way, Shakur is one of the hardest boxers to hit. He's one of the if not the hardest boxer to hit. He might be the hardest boxer to hit in the sport. Matter of fact, he is. He's the hardest boxer to hit in the, like, I rarely see Shakur get hit clean. Like, Shakur is the kind of fighter where you basically have to make every punch count, because you don't get too many clean opportunities, dog. You don't get too many clean opportunities. So what do you mean freaking you gotta hit him? What do you think this son is trying to do, dog? Seriously, like, what kind of instruction? Then you follow it up with, what happened to your power?
What happened, bro? What happened to your fucking power, bro?
How you like, I know I gotta break down the fight, but that pissed me off, bro. What do you mean what happened to your power? Do you understand for power to exist, I gotta land a shot on you? You understand that, right? You understand for power to exist, period. I gotta be able to land a punch on you. If I can't land a punch on you, if I'm struggling to land how is my power going to exist? And what kind of instruction? Like, you're not instructing your son to do nothing. You gotta hit him, bro. Oh, can you tell me how to hit him? Can you tell me? Can you assist me? Give me a game plan in which I can follow to at least try to hit him. Something. Yo, work behind the jab. Work behind the double jab. Throw right hands. Throw left hooks. Keep your lead foot on the outside. Do this. You ain't do none of that. I ain't saying these are the things that, because it's multiple layers to fighting a guy like Shakur. Those are just basic things that I'm just throwing out there. But you ain't doing none of that, dog. Telling a fighter to hit a opponent, clear, obvious. No, duh. It's boxing, dog. That's like telling a basketball player, you gotta shoot the ball, bro. You know, make a basket, bro. Duh, it's basketball. It's basketball. That's like telling a quarterback, you gotta throw the football, bro. Duh, I know that. I'm a quarterback. Duh, it's boxing. Duh, I have to land a punch on him. Obviously, for a supposed, and this might be a controversial take, for a supposed 50-50 fight, this might be the most easiest work I've seen. This might be the easy, because, okay, let's actually break down, like let's actually assess something here, because a lot of people were trying to make it seem like, right, that the only way how Shakur could win against Teofimo was that if he's on the back foot. Bro, Shakur was stepping to Teo. I don't know, because I know Shakur has hand problems, right? Everybody knows Shakur has hand problems. I don't know if Shakur hits harder than what people think he does. I don't hear people talk about his power a lot, but for you to back up, like for Teofimo to start backing up so early in the fight, like I think like the second or third round, he was already on the back foot. I don't know if because I think a lot of with Shakur, his power, it comes from his accuracy. Like Shakur isn't a one punch knockout kind of person, right? Like when you look at when he beat the brakes off of Jamel Herring, look at how he stopped him. He wasn't stopping him off of one punch. It was accumulation. It was round after round after round of just pure beatdown, right? I think that is what makes, like, I think that is where Shakur gets his, so to speak, power from. It's the accuracy and it's the speed of his punches. I don't think he's a pure puncher, but like example, I think it was in the first round, like he threw a jab and he threw like a left hand and it was super quick. I think it's the speed and the accuracy of Shakur is what throws people it throws fighters off, because Teofimo gave him a lot of respect. So I think it's a combination of the speed, but I think it was mainly the speed, bro. He was picking Teofimo apart. And another thing that I want to add to the conversation, that is the worst I've seen Teo. And I've seen Teo look bad. We've seen him look bad against Sandro Martin. We've seen him look bad against Jermaine Ortiz. We've seen Teo look bad. I think that is single-handedly the worst I've seen Teofimo look. It looked like he wasn't prepared for Shakur. I mean, again, it's hard to prepare for a guy like Shakur, right? Unless you're sparring him day in and day out, it's really hard to be or to even prepare for. That's like Floyd, right? I'm not comparing Shakur to Floyd. Relax. It's hard to prepare for a guy like that, right? Like you could try to emulate that style all you want, but it's easier said than it's different when you get in the ring with him. It's very different when you get in the ring with him, and I think Teofimo is a splitting image of that. Like, you could train and prepare for Shakur all you want, but them guys ain't Shakur. They're not Shakur. They're not. And it's like, bro, it's like I seen Teofimo was overreaching with the right hand. I seen Teo do it. It's like he just looked bad. Footwork looked bad. He was like, his leg was starting to crisscross. I'm like, bruh. From round one, Teo didn't have an answer for anything Shakur wanted to do. And the thing about it is too, for anybody who calls Shakur boring, keep the same energy. Cause y'all ragged on Shakur for one fight because he had a broken hand and he was on the back foot. He was beating the brakes off of Teofimo while stepping to him. He was stepping to Teofimo all night. It wasn't like he was fighting off the back foot and he was roaming around the ring all night. He was stepping to Teo. He did the thing that people didn't think he was gonna do. He beat Teo by doing something that people didn't even think he was gonna do. He was stepping to Teo all night, and he whooped him. He washed Teo. That fight wasn't even competitive. 12-0 at most. You could give Teo a round at most, and that's still bad. I've always said it. I would much rather get knocked out than get 12-0, because that means for 12 rounds straight, you couldn't find a single answer, not one. That's bad. That could be bad game planning. That could be whatever. But the fact that you couldn't find an answer for 12 rounds is bad, and that's exactly what happened to Teofimo Lopez. And I'm gonna end it off with that. So with that being said, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy any of this content, make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and comment down below. What was your thoughts and opinions about this fantastic card, this very much entertaining card? I mean, like I said, we got a little bit of everything on this card, right? And it's only January. We just getting into it. And if you are new, make sure you hit that red button that says subscribe and click that bell, and make sure that the bell is turned on to all so you don't miss out on individual episodes like this one. And as always, it's your boy Remy, and I love you guys, and I will see you on the next one.